You know that feeling? The constant noise and chaos inside our own heads? Finding a moment of real peace can feel, well, almost impossible sometimes. Today, we're going to look at mental health through a really compassionate lens from one of the world's oldest wisdom traditions. And we're hoping to find some balance and meaning in a way that might just surprise you.
So let me ask you something, straight up. When was the last time you felt genuinely, truly at peace? I don't mean just distracted or busy. I mean that deep, quiet calm where the chatter in your mind just stops. That moment where you just feel okay. If you're having to think really hard about that, trust me, you are not the only one. In fact, you're part of this huge global conversation that's happening right now. Since 2020, online searches for this exact topic have shot up by over 300%. That's massive. People, and especially young Muslims, are actively trying to find that connection between their faith and how they feel inside. This isn't some small issue, it's a collective, really human search for a better way to handle our inner worlds.
Okay, so where do we even begin with all this? Well, the most powerful place to start in the Islamic tradition isn't about ignoring pain or pretending it's not there. It's actually about giving ourselves permission to feel it. And the most profound example of this, it comes from the life of the Prophet Muhammad himself.
There was this period in the Prophet's life, peace be upon him, that's literally known as the year of sorrow. Think about that. In just 1 year, he lost his wife Khadija, who was his rock, his biggest supporter, and his uncle Abu Talib, who was his protector. This wasn't just a bump in the road. Historical accounts tell us it was a time of complete and profound emotional devastation for him.
And right in the middle of all that intense grief, look at the response that came from God. These verses were revealed. And just listen to the tone. It doesn't say toughen up or you need to get over it. Nope. It's pure comfort. It's a message that says, I see your pain. I haven't left you. This is a divine validation of his suffering, not a dismissal of it.
And this, right here, is the most important takeaway. If the person considered the most beloved to God experienced grief so deep that it was recorded for all time, then there is absolutely zero shame in you experiencing it too. This whole idea, this stigma that mental struggle is some kind of sign of weak faith, it's not just un-Islamic, it's completely counter to the Prophet's own life. His example gives all of us permission to just be human.
So, once we have that permission to feel, the tradition doesn't just leave us hanging. It actually offers this powerful spiritual toolkit. You can think of it as ancient wisdom that is perfectly designed for our very modern minds.
First up, we have a concept called Tawakkul. This is often called Islam's antidote to anxiety. At its core, what is anxiety? It's a fear of the future, right? It's trying to control things we simply can't. Now, Tawakkul isn't about just sitting back and waiting. It's active reliance. Imagine a bird. It flies out of the nest hungry every single morning. It does the work. It flies. It searches. But it trusts that it will find what it needs. You do your part, you put in the effort, and then you let go and trust the outcome.
Next is a word you've probably heard, but it's often misunderstood, Sabr. Most people think it just means passive patience, just grin and bear it. But that's not it at all. It's active endurance. It's the steadfast belief that hardship isn't just random, meaningless pain. It's actually a process of refinement, a path to growth. It completely reframes suffering from a problem into a path with a real purpose.
And this is where things get really interesting, where ancient faith and modern science kind of shake hands. Let's talk about the practice of dhikr, which means the remembrance of God, often by repeating certain phrases. It has these incredible parallels with modern mindfulness. Neuroscience actually shows us that this kind of rhythmic repetition can literally calm down the brain's fear center. They both calm the nervous system. But here's the key difference. Dhikr does it by connecting you to a source of ultimate meaning beyond just yourself.
Now, I have to make this super clear because it's so important. This spiritual toolkit isn't meant to replace modern science or professional help, not at all. The Islamic framework actually sees them as partners, working together in the healing process.
See, therapy and faith offer different but equally vital things. A therapist gives you the clinical tools, the strategies to actually manage what's going on in your mind. Faith, on the other hand, provides the big picture framework of meaning, the why. Why is this happening? What's the point? Where is this all going? You could say one gives you the tools for the journey and the other gives you a reason to take the journey in the first place.
This famous saying from the Prophet just sums it all up perfectly. Faith is not about doing nothing. Seeking professional help, going to therapy, seeing a doctor, that is not a failure of faith. It's the exact definition of faith in action. It is the act of tying your camel before you put your trust in God.
So, let's just end on this thought. So often we're taught to see our struggles as some kind of flaw, a personal weakness. But what if that's just the wrong way to look at it? What if your struggle isn't a sign that you're broken, but it's actually an invitation, a path, to a much deeper connection with yourself and maybe with the divine?